Welcome back everyone to the Jonsie Burrows. Here, we'll dig deep into ruin in search of important things we all might have missed that can gather together to later prove with a theory that's valid. If you're new here, hello, I'm Jonsie, and we're continuing to burrow down into the hidden depths of ruin. Now that's a proper intro, short and sweet. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to streamline this process and make things smoother. So there's going to be a few bumps in the road. But it's part of the course of this new experience of being a YouTuber. I'll be more prepared next time. Speaking of new experiences, how do you all like the new mic? Do I sound better? Clearer? Try to bear with me if I don't. And don't be afraid to give criticism or advice. I'm trying to find the best settings for it. But hopefully, from now on, my voice is just as sound as the theories I make. Now, let's get back to our unregularly scheduled series that has been seriously neglected and really needs to pick up the pace.
As Sun flies away to go fight his inner demon, Cassie goes to turn on the generators with the Grimmic's voices distorting and echoing in her ears, encouraging her to help the daycare attendant.
I don't know about you all, but with the thing we just discovered about the attendant, I got the sudden feeling that Cassie rebooting Sun and Moon into Eclipse was a very bad thing.
Using the portable camera system set up nearby, Cassie quickly completes the node puzzle that was preventing her from moving forward. Once done, she notices that there are convenient arrows pointing her to where she needs to go, leading her to put on her mask and go inside the playhouse again. There, she sees hanged drawings and posters relating to the attendant and the daycare placed about, even seeing a drawing that looked like an angry eyebrowed bunny face with a frown.
This might be the first actual cameo appearance of Bonnie in the DLC and Security Breach. It's not a drawing of Vanny because her costume doesn't have tufts on the top of her head, and neither the mask she currently wears nor the help wanted one looks angry or have a frown. It might be a hint at what the impression Bunny had was with the kids. It does line up with the fact that once Monty got Bonnie's hands, he became more angry and aggressive. But it's just a thought. An interesting thought.
Sometimes as she moves through the playhouse, she sees purple cracks and lines along the floor and walls of it, and occasionally catches Mixes watching her silently and creepily before disappearing into pixels. Continuing on to find the generator, Sun speaks his thoughts out loud, but Cassie notices she can only hear him with the mask on in the AR world, as Moon is the one who talks with the mask off in the real world. Finally finding and turning on the generator, more lights shine down on Moon, causing him to angrily grumble that Sun needs to go away, leaving Cassie to follow more of the conveniently placed arrows pointing her to where she needs to go, which in this case lead her down to the ground level of the daycare, which is near the front entrance doors. More distorted Grimmick voices tell her what to do as she gets moving again with an unknown destination in mind. Luckily, there was a conveniently placed cutout of Pirate Helpy pointing her to where she needed to go. So, following its direction as a guide and going past trash bags and plushies that seem to litter the entire daycare, she makes her way to another portable camera system, only this time, she needs the mask for it to even work. More puzzles and more Mixes, but none of them can stop Cassie from removing/avoiding them as obstacles as, conveniently, there are arrows pointing her to where she needs to go, and she follows them into another section of the playhouse. There, she saw more pictures and even another convenient arrow. Hi Mixes, bye Mixes, and oh look, a convenient arrow. Getting to the next generator and turning it on makes the daycare attendant stuck, as Grimmick puts it, so Cassie hurriedly makes her way toward him. On her way, she witnesses more members of the coalition of conveniently placed arrows, pointing her to where she needs to go and follows them. Heading into another playhouse section, with more echoey encouragement from Grimmick, she comes across an extra-large Freddy stuffed in a tube, a traffic cone, and this time, a yellow, conveniently placed arrow alongside a colorful picture of the daycare attendant, telling her that this is where she needs to go to reach them. Another conveniently placed arrow, and she finally gets to the attendant to reboot him.
I find it interesting that if you try to reboot him with the mask on, Sun tells you not to do him but Moon. I wonder why the mask makes a difference in the outcome of the reboot, as you still physically put the Faz wrench in him either way. Maybe it ties back into the mask's purpose and how the Endos can't see Cassie with it on. It could explain why Moon doesn't kill Cassie when Sun grabs her, but instead flies away to a brightly lit area to keep Moon at bay. And in that same cutscene, you'll notice that Sun's yellow eye never changes to Moon's red eye when he speaks. I believe putting on the mask brings Cassie's mind further into the network, which is why she can hear Sun talking with it on, even though Moon is in control of the body in the real world.
Rebooting Moon gives us Eclipse, someone who's been teased about since Security Breach, but who we're meeting for the first time in the DLC.
He seems like a happy middle ground between Sun and Moon, which is fitting for his name. However, that brings up a question as to why the daycare attendant wasn't like this in the first place in Security Breach. Now, from what I heard from the books, they wanted Moon's persona to disappear and for Sun to be the one who runs the daycare. But since they couldn't get rid of Moon, they did the whole night and day gimmick for the daycare attendant. I could have heard wrong or something, but still, Cassie make this whole issue look easy. Maybe there is more to it.
Eclipse activates safety mode and carries Cassie, like the child she is, to the front doors of the daycare, citing child is in danger and that he needs to clean the place. And so, he does the only sensible thing and puts the said child in more danger and ends their brief meeting with a happy, come back soon and have a Fazerific day. And slams the doors shut to make sure Cassie doesn't have a safe place to return to. With a relieved thank you from Sun, Cassie is back in the danger zone. There she avoids Endos with the mask, does more flow puzzles, and shuts off another security node, allowing her to get into the theater. Weirdly, Grimmick sounds oddly excited about the camera station there and insists that Cassie looks at it.
I'm not too sure why Grimmick does that. At first I thought he was talking about Gregory and Vanny on screen, but no, he specifically called out the camera station in his dialogue.
With the mask on, Cassie sees Gregory running and then Vanny casually skipping after him on the big screen, at which point she remarks that she is wearing her mask.
Quick second here, I just want to say that I forgot to mention in part 2 of my series that Cassie might be seeing what Vanny herself always sees when she puts on the costume. That is all. As I mentioned before, Jeremy's name is on screen next to the same pizza drawing that Vanny drew in the main lobby. There is purple graffiti on the wall next to the screen, but I can't tell if it says anything. Endos are there in the area, but none of them turn on as far as I know. But interestingly, that stairwell and secret hallway that leads to Vanessa and leads towards Vanessa and the daycare attendant's room is absolutely filled with those same purple lines that appear on the attendant, the daycare, and the Princess Quest 3 arcade machine.
Back in the theater room, if you go in that hallway to your left, you'll find nothing but an endo in ruins. If you check it out with the mask, you'll still find the same thing. But behind that endo is a curious, large metal beam or pipe that only appears with the mask on, and it has those lines again. Cassie does more camera puzzles and boom! In the AR world, a giant endo with purple eyes is popping out of the screen and had clawed the ground in front of it, leaving behind purple gashes.
To me, this practically screams glitch trap, as this giant endo represents how he wants to get out of his digital form, and is willing to tear through everything to do it. But it's only a thought I have, so don't take it so seriously.
Suddenly, Mixes appears again, cornering her as it looks like she has nowhere else to go. But a voice inside of her head is telling her that there is no dead end, so Cassie climbs into the mouth of the giant endo and falls down its throat to get away, only to panic when she realizes she is stuck in there. Helpy appears again with orange eyes and purple veins and tells her, It is all in her head. Take the mask off and take a look. Doing so reveals that she is in a vent again, with the way she came from being a vent connecting to another one above it. With no way to go back up, Cassie moves forward in the vent, coming to a fork in it. Choosing the path that isn't filled to the brim with trash bags, she crawls further in the vent and finds more trash bag block paths that prevent her from going anywhere, but the only unblocked vent that Cassie continues on, until ominous creaking hints at what's about to happen next.
This vent is creaky. I really hope it doesn't fall!
I guess she should have hoped harder, but where she lands is something I'll talk about in part 4. Yeah, this one's a short one, but only because it's the other half of part 3. So until then, I hope you all find a conveniently placed arrow pointing you to where you need to go in life.